KDKT Sports Radio, powered by CBS Sports.
Happy now? There, I said it.
KDKT, a DSN radio station. Live and local from North Dakota. It's Friday Night Live.
Let's do it live!
Friday night.
Live programming. Now live from the DSN Radio Ranch in the heart of North Dakota. Friday Night Live.
Live from the DSN Radio Ranch, this is Friday Night Live on KDKT Sports Radio 1410. I'm Jim, along with Jeff, the Stack Attack, and Dawson Austin. As billed earlier, our special guest tonight is Patrick Lancaster. Patrick is a freelance video and photojournalist covering the armed conflict in the Donbass region of the eastern Ukraine. Patrick is going to be talking to us tonight about an effort he's spearheading to provide humanitarian relief to that war-torn region of the Ukraine. Good evening, Patrick. Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
Well, very, very good. Let's get to it right away. I think a good departure point is just to recount that Russia annexed Crimea sometime in 2014, and that set off a series of events which percolated into armed conflict. Bring us up to date from there and tell us about your involvement.
Well, I can tell you, I've been in Donetsk in the Donbass region since April of 2014. I've seen the whole conflict evolve from the demonstrations that the local people held at the administration buildings in Donetsk and the smaller towns in that area. And the demonstrations basically turned into a bit of a revolution following the events in Kiev and the Maidan events. And this revolution has turned itself into a armed conflict, like you said, and the people have really paid the price. And through the fighting in this area, right now there's just a humanitarian crisis that has been left. There are many villages that have been almost completely destroyed. There are many neighborhoods that are just shells of what they used to be. Thousands of people have lost their homes. Thousands of people have lost their lives. And what's left in some of these places looks like a post-apocalyptic scene from a horrible movie. And the lives of these people will never be the same again. And we're here now just trying to give them a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel and do what we can to help these families.
And Patrick, Stack here, you've been there for, like you said, 21 months now, almost 2 years. So, I mean, that's just a very, very brave thing what you're doing out there, reporting this and, uploading things to YouTube and just showing, the world what you're seeing there. So my question is, what initially drew you to the area? What caused you to want to go out there and put yourself in harm's way for the benefit of the people of Ukraine?
Well, I originally came to this area before being in Donbass and Donetsk. I was actually reporting in Crimea during the time that the referendum was happening in Crimea. I decided I wanted to go to Crimea and report there because I knew, whichever way you look at it, whichever political aim the person that's viewing that situation there, it was definitely history going, and I wanted to see exactly what was happening there. And I went to Crimea and I saw the joy that some people were having after the referendum, and just saw the different opinions that were being put around following the events of the merging with Russia of Crimea. And then after Crimea, the situation in Crimea started to become a little bit more calm. I came to Donbass and Donetsk because like I said, the administration buildings were taken over by protesters, and the basically what the protesters and the people that live in Donbass call themselves as the revolution beginning, and that revolution merged its way into a war. The people that live here, they refer to the time in the beginning of 2014 and before as before the war. They call it Do Vayna. And these people, the lives are just completely changed. And I came here to basically do what I can to help show the real facts that are going on here in Donetsk and Donbass, and that's what I've been trying to do since I've been here. I've been going to different parts of Donbass. I've gone to many different villages and cities, reporting on different facts that I find. And now that the conflict, unfortunately, the war, it's still is going on. There's still people dying, but luckily it's less intense than it was before. So now myself and my team are concentrating more on the humanitarian aspect, and we have a system put in place where every week, even sometimes several times a week, we go to a different area and do what we can to help the people there. Just yesterday, we went to a bomb shelter in Donetsk where over 25 people are living underground because there's still daily shelling in their neighborhood. And we delivered about 1,300 pounds of humanitarian aid in the form of vegetables and other foods to this bomb shelter and the people that live in this bomb shelter, the women, the children, the men, and we also delivered the aid to the surrounding areas around the bomb shelter. And this is an area that we're talking is literally on the front line. The people live on the front line, just a few hundred yards from the border, if you will, between the two fighting forces.
Patrick, this is Jim again. When we think of war-torn regions, at least here in the States right now, people tend to think of Syria and Iraq, and of course there's a huge conversation regarding immigration and the number of people that's trying to escape that war-torn region. What's the case in the Ukraine? Is there a lot of immigration, or is it just, I shouldn't say just, but I think you know what I mean, are most of the people just displaced as opposed to immigrating?
Well, the fact is, in 2014, before 2014, Donetsk itself was over 1 million people. And in the summer of 2015, when the conflict was at the top of the intensity, people were leaving in the thousands. They were immigrating to Russia and to Western Ukraine. And the fact is, the people left the Donbass area. The families left. A lot of them, they left the area according to their beliefs and basically their beliefs of who is in the right in the conflict, and what their ethnicity is. Because in Donbass here, you have ethnic Russians and ethnic Ukrainians. It's a very unique situation here because, yes, it was part of Ukraine as a country, but there's two languages spoken, Russian and Ukrainian. The eastern part of Ukraine was majority of ethnic Russians, and the normal language was Russian spoken in this area. So basically the people left Donbass, left the war-torn area, depending on basically their family's history. But now there's still many families left that are just in this horrible situation, and they don't have anywhere to go. And they're basically stuck in this never-ending whirlpool of suffering. And I myself have seen hundreds of civilians killed in this conflict, and the sad fact is there are still civilians dying in this conflict, and we just need to do what we can to make their lives a bit better.
And Patrick, Stack here again. A couple of things I just want to run by. Many people in North Dakota know that a lot of Ukrainian ancestry folks live around here. Actually, I did a look up. Belfield, the number 2 city as far as number of people with Ukrainian background per capita in the U.S., and Wilton, North Dakota, is number 5. So there's certainly a personal connection there. And when you're describing these events, you're living in a war-torn zone. I think most people in the United States only think about that stuff, as something we see on television, see in the movies. You're living it day to day. So one thing I want to mention to you, just describe your life on a day-to-day basis, and how can people who have a personal connection, people who are of Ukrainian descent, or just people who want to help out innocent civilians who are suffering because of this situation, how can they help out? So describe your life on a day-to-day basis and your time there, and how can people help out in the effort?
Well, my life on a day-to-day basis in Donetsk and Donbass, it's twofold. The first is, as a journalist, I monitor the situation of what's happening in Donetsk and Donbass, and depending on what happens that day, some days I will unfortunately have to go to people's homes as they're hit by shelling, or shortly after they're hit by shelling and artillery. And some days I see people's whole lives literally go up in flames. Just a few weeks ago, I was at a civilian street, that there were 4 homes engulfed in flames. And the families there have lost everything. And I do what I can to record that information and disseminate it to the public, whether that's a media outlets or just my personal own YouTube channel. I do what I can to get that information out. The other side of what I do is I look for people that need help, for areas that many people live that don't have work, don't have food, don't have medical supplies, don't have the means to sustain themselves. And myself and my team, we put packets together. We make bags of food. We make little kits of supplies, and we go to these areas, which sometimes these areas are, like I said, right on the front line. Even some towns, there's a town of Spartak that we did in December. Before the war, it was between 1,500 and 2,000 population, and now it's just over 110. It's lost over 90% of its population. But we were able to go to that village and supply the whole village with humanitarian aid and feed the whole village. Yet not for a long time, not for a month, but we were able to do it at least for one day, and that's what we try to continue to do. We're hoping to help all these people as much as possible and expand our ability to help them as much as possible. And it is possible for people to donate and assist us in helping them. Actually, right now, we are very fortunate to have the support of a very generous man from Paris. He has pledged to match all donations that come in to help the people in Donbass, and people can do this, can donate by sending a donation through PayPal. They can go through the PayPal system and donate to the email helpvictimsukrainewar@gmail.com. That's HelpVictimsUkrainewar@gmail.com.
And Patrick will certainly relay that information again. Again, the email is helpvictimsukrainewar@gmail.com. Jim.
Well, one quick question before we have to say farewell, Patrick. What about the children? What about kids being able to get an education? And what do people do for, obviously, food, you're trying to help them out, but gas, electricity, just staying warm?
Well, as far as gas and electricity and water, there are many areas that haven't had gas, electricity, or water for almost a year and a half. Like I said, it's mind-boggling how the situation is for some of these people. I mean, it's almost unimaginable to not have gas, water, or electricity for a whole year and a half. It's just unbelievable. And you can imagine the toll that this is taking on the children as well. I mean, these children literally, are playing in these bomb shelters with no electricity, no anything, listening. They go to sleep. Their lullaby some nights, in some areas every night, is the sound of artillery explosions hitting near their homes. It's a horrible situation for these children. Some are able to attend school, some aren't. We do what we can by supplying some school supplies to these children, but like we said, we need the assistance of people like the listeners of your show to help us help them. We're just the middleman. We're not doing the help. The help is actually coming from the people that donate, and we're just facilitating that help. And now is the time for people to donate and help these families, help these children.
Stack here, you're doing heroes work. Again, help victims Ukraine war at gmail.com. You're just, I just, all the respect in the world for you, all the admiration in the world. You're a very brave man to be there, living in this war-torn area of the country, or of the world, rather. Just dealing with this on a day-to-day basis and being a guy that steps up and saying, yeah, I'm going to be the guy that helps out these kids.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I feel like we're just facilitating the people out there that want to help these people, and if we weren't doing this, I don't know who would be, and we just need, together we can all make a real difference.
All right, well, thank you, Patrick. We've been talking with Patrick Lancaster, a freelance video and photojournalist covering the armed conflict in eastern Ukraine, here in KDKT Sports Radio.
KDKT.